onto the CellPoint Digital stand here at T2RL Engage. We're on the first day of the two-day conference in London this week. And I'm joined by Kristian, who's the CEO of CellPoint Digital. Welcome, and thanks for inviting us onto your stand.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Appreciate it.
Been a busy morning, and I know you'd be on stage. You did one of the opening keynotes talking about what you do, but also talking about what the future is for offer, order, settle, deliver, but where payments specifically fits into that. Give us an overview of what you said on stage earlier. I know you were talking about the role of payment orchestration and how important that would be going forward.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at offer order and the promise it carries, right, which is really an ability for airlines to become actual retailers and selling multiple different travel products and bundles with much higher ATVs and a lot of opportunity for revenue.
Yeah.
Payment orchestration is the ability to actually then capture the revenue on the other side, right? So if that fails, you're going to lose the whole transaction. So that's what it is. It's the strategic imperative that enables you to harvest the benefits of offer order from a payments perspective. So it's really managing the entire payment supply chain from B2C to B2B. So get the funds in from the travelers to paying the funds out to the partners of the airline.
Yeah, and retaining the profit.
And retaining the profit, exactly.
Keep it.
And making sure that the conversion stays high, which is one of the things we do, right? So as a business, for our clients, we typically deliver somewhere between 5 and 12% ROI. So if they didn't use our orchestration engine, payments would become a cost. With our orchestration engine, they see an ROI above that. So we deliver anywhere from 50 million to 120 million on $1 billion of flow in ROI on an annual basis. So that's a lot of money.
And the offer order settle deliver world that we're moving towards, which is what the 2 days is all about. The danger there, it layers on a more complex, or I should say a more complex world for the airlines, and more complexity is a bad thing generally. I just come from a session now. We're talking about making the complex simple, which seems to be the key to this now, isn't it? We are going to be more complex, but if we operate it in a simple way, you get the benefits.
Yeah. So I mean, I always look at it this way. An airline's got, fare rules, multiple fare classes, currencies, countries, all different kinds of stuff. And when you start multiplying it, you're talking millions of interactions on a daily basis, right? If you have an average airline, maybe 10,000 passengers a day. And so that alone is complex. Now you're saying, okay, but I'm going to actually multiply that number by 3 to 5 or 6 times by adding additional travel products who have their own complexities.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the complexity is going to go up, and the trick's going to be to manage that, right? So there is the whole front end of that, which is really the offer and the order, but then there is the settle deliver, and on the settle side and on the payment side, which is where it comes in at the end of the order, we have to mitigate that complexity by adding a centralized platform that deals with that complexity. So managing all these fare rules, managing all the rules of the various payment methods is what orchestration needs to do.
Yeah. You said airlines bringing in other travel products. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so that could be anything from the obvious, right? It could be hospitality, it could be ground, it could be tours, cruise. I mean, it could be a lot of these different things, but it could also be financial services like a co-branded card in the checkout process. So really anything that experiences. It could even be restaurants. I mean, it could be anything that you can imagine.
Sim to your phone, just everything you need when you're on holiday.
Exactly, everything, and not just holiday, but you could also imagine that I'm going on a business trip where we have an offsite, right? Where you've got 30, 50, 100 people on an offsite, and you're going to book all this stuff in, and you want to enable each of these passengers to combine and mix and match to make it work for them, because we're not all coming from the same place.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from Florida. We got people coming from Singapore and God knows what else, right? So the complexity of this is here. Offer order might actually help deliver on that promise, which is to allow people to create a much more Amazonified, Amazon-like shopping experience.
Yeah. It's almost, Amazon has been around a long time. You can, it's nothing new, is it really? But it's a more human, I would say it's more human experience. Like, this is how I would do things if I could invent the world. But the airline industry hasn't allowed me to do that.
No, for sure. And I think the airline has a massive opportunity here.
Yeah.
It's not just a challenge. Actually, I think it's a massive opportunity. And I had that conversation last night during a dinner with an airline. I said, look, what matters to me in this entire flow might not matter to another person. But if the airline figures out what matters to me, and maybe not just me as a person, but me as a group, then the value of that becomes higher, right? So I made that example earlier. I want to sit up front when I arrive in America because I don't have a U.S. passport. I want to run out to immigration to avoid that 300 people queue behind me. But somebody else may have global entry and prefer to sit in the aisle seat away from the front, right? Yeah. Whatever it may be. Yeah. And you start figuring these things out, and you start figuring out what matters for a family traveling together, what matters for a group of colleagues traveling together, and you start getting these flows built into your offer order or to your offer particularly, then you can actually monetize things you couldn't monetize before. So it's about building the same trust and transparency that you get when shopping at Amazon, right? When I go to the buy box, which is the window you see, I get options. I get rich descriptions, pictures, all different. I mean, all this stuff is there. And when I go to an airline site today and I look at travel classes, I get 2 or 3 pictures, and some have a 3D tour, but still, you don't get all the information that you really want. Yeah. And that matters to people. I mean, because people are really affluent buyers, and they're also affluent travelers. This is not like you're going to open up a new market of new travelers who's never traveled before. This is going to be people who've done it a long time. They know what they're doing, and now they're going to apply their experience into the offer order environment, right? And so I think airlines has a chance to say, well, wow, that caters to you. It has value. I can charge for that, which they should do.
I mean, what Amazon's obviously famous for is not they do the retail very well, or pretty well. They do the whole thing. They do that delivery, and they do They do deliver a bit excellently well, and they go beyond expectations at times. So they surprise and delight. Oh, and in some ways, and it's not a slight on the industry, but you don't know how often the industry and the aviation industry does surprise and delight or go beyond expectations. Maybe they hit expectations and you're happy. Well, how often do they sort of go beyond that, and you go away going, Mike, I didn't expect that, but that was amazing,
Yeah, so, I think that's and that becomes a philosophical conversation in a way, right? But I'm a vivid traveler. I've been traveling for God knows how many years, way too many. And a lot of that international and both long haul and God knows what else. So the combination of crew and service is where it really matters. Yeah. Most often, the detractor is the airport experience.
Right, yeah. Where it all falls apart because you get lost in,
I mean, airports are just terrible, right? Yeah. You've got security and you've got immigration, you've got all these different things, which are things that the airline has no impact on, right? But I think there's a way for them to mitigate that by being super transparent in your product. Hey, if you're flying out of Terminal D in Miami, avoid security checkpoint 2, 3, and 4. Go to checkpoint 6. Yeah. You may have to go 200 feet extra, but you're going to save 20 minutes, right? Yeah. Stuff like they have the data. They know it.
Junior's not the tip. I mean,
exactly. They have the data. They can give the rich content in there, and it'll allow them to do exactly what you're saying. They can now exceed expectations. Yeah. I think that'll build a lot of brand loyalty.
I know in Heathrow Terminal 5, there's a sneaky little pret-a-manger around the corner near gate 1, which is always empty. Yeah. So if you get there and it's busy and the queue, the press is massive. Yeah. Just nip down there. But if an airline would tell you that, you'd be going, oh my, that was an amazing little bit of a tip. And
I think that, again, it's going to be all the little things that travelers are already researching. Yeah. And with AI, passengers or travelers are going to be even more affluent and have even more expectations. And so I do believe that transparency is critical for offer order to succeed, to build that trust, which I think you guys talked about earlier, or somebody talked about in the previous presentation, is how do you build trust if you under-deliver, right? Yeah. Here's a really good example. I want to buy the new cabin of X airline, right? They upgraded their cabin, but what they don't tell you is exactly what planes you can find it on or what routes those planes fly on, right? So you could be really unfortunate and get a really dated cabin, and you now went through the cost of deciding to upgrade to premium economy, whatever it is you do, and you're really disappointed. Now it's a massive disappointment.
You'll think you've been missold, really, won't you?
Big time.
Look, behind us is on your stand here is one source orchestration. So one source is an important term for you because you launched it in August. Yes. So it's a very recent development, a new platform you launched with Southwest. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So as we came into the beginning of 22. We've been around for quite a while. We launched our current platform, Velocity, in 2010. So 12 years is a long time in technology. And cloud computing were becoming a reality, and we could just see that we needed to get to the next level. Yeah. And when we got Emirates as a client back in 2012, I actually had a conversation with Rob Brewer, who I think most people know who he is. And he was telling me about NDC, and I was, I thought that was interesting because that was talking about concepts that are modern, like XML and whatnot. So we started the process there. We started developing in summer 22, and then in the end of 22, we won a contract with Southwest for Southwest Getaways.
Okay.
And Southwest Getaways were building a lot of offer order-like capabilities into their Getaway product. So we launched with Southwest this brand new platform in August this year. And this is a platform that builds on all our experience within within payment orchestration and travel payment orchestration. So it has all those capabilities built in. And then on top, we got a lot of new things we always wanted to build, well, at least based on our experience, and then the offer order components as well. So it's really all embracing and contains a whole range of capabilities right off the bat with workflows built in, sophisticated rule bases to deal with all the complexity. Yeah. And this is a major milestone for CellPoint.
And Southwest Getaways, is it? That's their sort of tour operating division, if you like, or offer to the
that is it. That's exactly it.
So Southwest are layering on the whole holiday, the trip, or the whole day, so the hotel, the ground transportation,
everything.
So on. Yeah, they're doing like all under one. I guess one PNR, what you might in the old school say PNR, but one booking.
In one booking, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, it's a pretty ingenious solution. I think they're going to be quite successful with it. And obviously, we're super proud to be powering the payments behind that.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's not the only ones to do it. We see over in the UK, we've got EasyJet doing EasyJet holidays very successfully. Yep. And in fact, if you look at how EasyJet performed commercially, it's the holidays division that's really driving their profitable growth anyway. But we've also we got Jet2 holidays over here, and TUI itself is an airline, but also a tour operator. So there's a big trend in this, actually. Do you see more airlines picking this up? BA Holidays has been on for a while and doing a very good job of selling holidays.
Well, I mean, that's the whole idea with offer order, right? It is to make the airlines merchants, or retailers, whatever the word you want to use. The point being is, you already got the eyes on your storefront. Why are you not selling everything? I mean, you should be selling everything you can sell that operationally you can support. And I heard Veronica on a panel just now talking about exactly that. The importance of your Veronica.
Sorry, that's your Veronica.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, T2RL Veronica. I think it was T2RL. Veronica, but yes, she's now ours.
Yeah.
Airline Veronica. I mean, this industry is just the same group of people. Anyways, but the conversation was, to really build the trust, you can only launch and sell products you can support. You can't shoot the support downstream, right? That's the big challenge.
Yeah.
Today,
it's not an easy decision to become a tour operator for anyone.
No, it's not. It's really difficult.
Regulatory things, not least the payment. Get the payments. That's not the easy thing to sort out.
No.
It's the responsibility for what you're selling is the key thing.
Exactly. But that involves also the payment component, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, partial refund, different refund rules for different products. Because you may have used different payment. Remember, these are big ATVs. You could be selling a tour for $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah.
And most people want to split it up on multiple different payment forms. They may only be allowed to pay with one thing on insurance and something else for something else, and so on and so forth, right? So it is managing the entire complexity of becoming a retailer. That is what the airline's going to focus on, and payment orchestration is one part of that.
Yeah. I was at, maybe you were there as well, but a World Aviation Festival last year, which is coming up again in a few weeks, but in Amsterdam. Yeah, Willie Walsh talking about the economics of airlines, how much money they don't make. He's one of his favourite topics is how poor the airline is in terms of its in margins. And of course, we're in the home of Booking.com, and he made the point, and it's a good point. Look, we create all this demand, and over there, Booking.com's got a lovely, nice, big office with a great website, and we create all that demand which they take from demand that we create as an industry, because no one ever bought a hotel off them before they first bought a flight off one of you guys, not referring to the airlines, of course. So the opportunity is there for the airlines to take a little bit more of that share of wallet, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of value in that for them, and I think there's a lot of net revenue. I mean, net earnings in that. I think that the financial upside for airlines is tremendous. If they do this right, I think it is really big. Yeah. And I know people are saying it's about a $45 billion annual estimated increase in revenue. I think it's bigger than that. And I think the innovativeness of like Rear Air coming in saying we're going to rethink this from the get-go, I think that will drive a lot of transformation also in the business thinking of many of these airlines, you're going to start seeing all kinds of new things come in, like financial instruments, right? I mean, why not? What's the whole point between neobanks? Well, neobanks were just really leveraging all the shortcomings of traditional banks in a smarter, newer, simpler way to do things. Airlines have the opportunity with this to not just transform sort of the tech stack and, put more products in, but to really transform the way they think about, I got the eyeballs on my on my sales channel. How much can I derive from that? What can I sell with quality? And as you said, exceed expectations.
Yeah. You mentioned Riyadh Air, another of your customers. We heard from those guys earlier today. There seems to be a lot of excitement about, finally seeing what a truly digitally native airline startup looks like in the real world. What do you think we'll see, and how do you think they will, spur innovation in the industry?
Well, I got to be honest. These guys are highly innovative, and they are really pushing the boundaries. And you can feel the buzz when you are visiting them in Riyadh, obviously, and you see the headquarters and there's things going around, and it is just a totally different environment.
Yeah,
you got people here who's going to be focusing on obviously getting the basics right, utilizing the newest technology in upper order, but they're also going to be pushing the boundary for what you can do in delivering rich content and turning that into conversions.
Yeah. And does it give everybody a kind of a sense of optimism? That things, because one of the themes of this event is we've stopped the talking now, we're actually doing the implementing.
I heard Richard say that this morning. I was like, last year he was saying, well, da-da-da. And now this year he goes, it's here, let's go.
That's Richard from T2RL.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, he's normally very... Richard's not a kind of, he doesn't jump on bandwagons, He's not.
No.
He's
but he was optimistic.
Guy. Yeah.
Very optimistic today. And you're right. Richard Clark from T2RL.
Yeah.
I do assume everybody knows everybody in this industry. At least that's what it appears to me. It appears so to me. Richard Clark from T2RL seemed very optimistic. And I think generally speaking, when I talk to people who are veterans of the airline industry, they seem to be quite optimistic. They seem to be, hey, we're seeing passenger numbers increasing. And I know there's a little bit of turbulence right now, but I think that we're going to see the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to blow through $5.5 billion, at least in PB volume. I think we're going to see customers wanting to buy experiences in a whole new way. And as I said, these are affluent buyers. Yeah. They know what they're doing. And the moment the technology catches up to their expectations,
What do you see as being the main blockers to progress? I mean, there's always going to be blockers. There's always going to be roadblocks, and some companies are just not going to be able to move as quickly as others. What are the main ones that we should try and overcome?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of different things. Yeah. I generally speaking, there's taking the decision to do it, right? I think that's the number one
mindset,
thing.
Isn't it?
The mindset. Do you really want to get there? And then I think it's mapping it out in a way that matches whatever legacy you got in your own airline, right? You can't just... Riyadh Air is unique because they started a brand new airline. They got the chance to start from scratch.
Yeah.
You got a business going. You got to serve your business. You can't just go, hey, let's throw everything out and start over. So It is finding the building blocks that's going to make the most sense. And then to Richard Clark's point, make sure you think it through top to bottom, right? So you don't... So when you have a plan, you say, okay, we're going to start here. We're going to end here. You take the piece that matters the most, but you got the plan through ready, and like what he said from a contracting perspective, make sure you got your players lined up, and you got your timelines lined up, and then things may move around and slide around, but in reality nowadays that's how it is, right?
I think it's an intention to get better. You will, even though you have to come over, there are practicalities like contracts with existing suppliers. You just have to work through that. We're in the world of AI now, quite definitively, and the speed of advance is a little bit mind-blowing at times. How do you see AI? Do you fear it?
No.
Are you excited by it?
I'm excited by it. I'm also, still apprehensive. We use AI broadly in our business. We have a couple of platforms we subscribe to on a company level. We use different platforms for different groups. So we got it in our development team. Obviously, they use it for a lot of different things. We got it in our finance team for analysis. We use it as a CEO with my business strategy. We use it for business analysis. And it does a lot of stuff, and it does it fast, right? But the challenge is still also AI has to mature a lot. And there is a lot of... The way I try to tell it is the more capabilities it has to emulate normal human thinking, which is not true. The more errors it's going to make, right?
Yeah.
It's going to make, like, I use it a lot, and then I challenge it and say, that doesn't seem right. What source did you use for that? And it goes, oh, you're absolutely right. That wasn't the correct thing. And you go, okay, well, how much of what you give me can I actually trust and believe?
Yeah.
So I think there are different uses for different scenarios. What it will do, though, is, seen from the airline's perspective, the travelers will have a tool that will enable them to give a 360 view of whatever product you're giving or offering in a minute or in a second, right? It's going to be really fast. And that's going to be, again, coming back into doing it right and delivering above expectations.
Yeah.
Transparency about what you're selling and your ability to service it is going to be key.
I guess the important thing at the minute is to try and predict where it will go, especially things like agentic, and not bake in anything now that means you can't move when it happens, because you're just going to be in the same situation again, having to get rid of legacy to go back and start again.
True.
Which is tough, because you're trying to foretell the future, which is never an easy job to do.
Absolutely. And it's still early days. And we spent a long time looking at it, and there are people way more experienced in AI than I am by a mile.
Yeah.
But I will say that it has limitations. It'll give you a boost productivity-wise, and there are things you can do faster. Like I could do research on something 2 hours before I go into a meeting. That before would take me 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I gotta double check it. It is not 100%. What you're getting is not. It's not like 2 + 2 is 4. That's not what you get. You're gonna get some idea, and it'll use knowledge from sources that may or may not be valuable to what you're trying to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's a massive trust issue around it, which we were discussing in the last panel, actually.
And then I think last thing is, I'm already hearing from some of my team members going, oh, we just know when people use AI to write the letter to us, right?
Yeah.
And like, okay, so be careful how you use it. There are limits to how much of your stuff that you can hand off.
Yeah.
There are things you're still going to need to be able to do on a personalized level.
Yeah.
But it's going to get there.
You will. I'm sure it will. Kristian, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Maybe Ncast has been a good to have a quick chat on your stand this week. Hopefully, have a good day tomorrow.
We think so.
A good garden tonight. I'm sure it'll be great as ever.
It's going to be amazing, as
Your main
always.
sponsor, so
I'm going to give you
very
space.
much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.